Hello everyone, I've made another Kylo Ren helmet since the last video in August. I've gone back to the second one I've modified to strengthen it and improve it just a little bit more, so you can see it's already in a sort of semi-completed state. So what I've done here is go over the entire helmet on the outside with clear resin, allow it to dry for a few days, and then carefully rub it down. It does give it a unusual texture, and it's quite difficult to rub it down and get it smooth again, but it does make it extremely tough. Following on from that, I have run over it with some more primer, and as you can see here, I've just dusted it over once with some black, and again that teases out any nasty imperfections you can see in the lid. Once again, the light where we live is never that great, even outside. I'm sort of outside of my garage and on my driveway, and the lighting's never that great. I've learned by holding my iPhone that way causes problems with the video, so I've decided to do it in a more landscape style, so hopefully that will be a bit better. So as you can see here, it's just gone over the once. It's quite smooth, a little bit of crazing in the paintwork, but that just adds to the texture, which is fine. Again, this is the helmet which I did, and it wasn't that well flared, but I'm just going to improve it and make it a little bit more screen accurate than it was. This is after the second dust over of matte black. All I've done is go over it very, very lightly, almost trying to splatter it on to try and give it a very slightly textured effect. If you look very, very carefully in the detail of the image there, you can see that it's not actually quite covering it, and that's what I want to begin with. Basically, I just want to build up the paint in sort of almost balls to give it a bit of a balls to give it a bit of a texture. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. As you can see, this one's quite nicely covered. You can't see the battery compartment in the top. You really can't see the adjoining line, although a very good marble effect, if that's ever anything you're going for in any other paint jobs. That's primer underneath, and like I say, just a splatter effect of matte black paint. It shines a lot because of the reflection from the iPhone light that I'm filming from. All I've done is dust over it very lightly with the matte black paint, and just sort of build up the layers just with very gentle sprays, just to give it this this kind of unusual kind of sort of texture, if you like. It's smooth, but it's got like a mottled effect to it. Again, the light where I come from is never that great. There's lots of houses blocking out the natural light, so you're not going to see it too well, but you just have to take my word for it. I'll try and zoom in a little bit just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. It's kind of what I would say is a mottled effect. What I'm going to do is go over this one just one more time, just to give it a little bit more of the black coverage that it deserves, and then I'm going to get into the detailing with the battle damage. I'll actually make a video on that this time, on how I did it before, and just blend it into this one. the finished paint job. It's now a gunmetal due to the texturing and the layering of the paint, and that's what you want to be looking for. A nice gunmetal dark grey. It's very, very blacky, matted. You can see here the compartment is gone, the join is gone. This was a previous helmet that I'd modded before and wasn't happy with it, so you're not going to see everything. I've got the light on the camera going as well, just to sort of emphasize the detail in the paint. It's like a mottled effect, and obviously I've not fully completed putting it back together again, and it's not quite detailed just yet. Well, it doesn't have any battle damage on there. The silver in the battle damage really does emphasize the helmet quite nicely, and I'll try and video that for you guys, so you'll get an idea. But yeah, this is it. I'm very pleased with this. So just in summary, what I've done so far then is I stripped back, funny enough, the previous video's helmet back to just the assembled helmet, rubbed it back down. It was still very black, obviously, because I put a lot of paint on it, and then reinforced it with fiberglass resin. Let that cure for a good few days. Also went on the inside, reinforced this area here and this area here. You can see I've still got the foam matting on the inside. I'm gonna go round the inside with some felt cloth, some black felt cloth, and it will give the wearer, when he's holding the helmet in his hands, like that nice sort of, you know, quality feeling that you'd expect from a helmet like this. So yeah, it's still a few touch-up bits to do, as you can see there, but the overall finish on the exterior, after priming it 2 or 3 times, rubbing it down, wet sanding it, and that is going over it with a fine sandpaper with water, and then continually lightly rubbing down any imperfections that you're not happy with, and then with matte black paint on the grey, you literally just squirt carefully, just like the odd press on the can, you know, hardly shaken can, and you end up with dots, and it's a very marbled effect, as you probably would have seen before in a previous sort of cut of this video. And then you just keep doing that until the helmet is entirely black, and that's what gives you this effect here. And I think that is what you're looking for. I've tried other methods, but this is certainly the best paint job I've done, and I'm very, very pleased with it. It's dark outside, as you can see, so we're only under sort of kitchen lights, unfortunately. But yeah, that's how she's looking right now. Hang on, just obviously doing this one-handed is more of an art than science. Don't worry about all the speckles there, they will be covered. I'm not going to do it on this one because I've gone a bit too far, and as you can see on this nose area, I cut out a gasket, and I'll try and show you what that's all about now. So if I just try and carefully hold this, like so, grab the other 2 bits here. This is the layer sort of sat up, butted up against the front of the filigree, and it's not lining up that well because I need to put the other screws in the front. But once it's in, you'll see it will meet up quite nicely. This is the all the face plates stuck together. I say stuck together, it's slid. It slides in place. It just requires 2 hands, and that's probably why you'll see a few few breaks in the video. Like I said, this is the previous helmet that I'd modded, and I just wanted to improve the paint job on it because I was considering selling it. It's not as flared as I wanted it to be, but you can see just by, on this front face plate, you can see just by dabbing matte black paint with a very small brush in blobs, give you almost a condensation effect, which gives it that kind of weathered look. And then getting into the detail on the layer down, the second layer down there, it just looks almost, you know, shiny but yet a little bit matted. It's quite good. I'm not happy with the way the third layer doesn't quite meet with the silver end of the filigree. It's purely, I just don't want to be cutting it about. I'll probably end up by ruining the entire mask, and it doesn't really notice that much. So in terms of screen accuracy, that is actually a bit of a fail, but you know, in terms of the 501st requirements, this helmet, once the battle damage is painted in, will exceed those requirements. This bit is a little bit fiddly, so obviously you need your completed mask and all assembled, and you know, as long as you're happy. Go to the Novos site because they've got a good set of high resolution images of replica, and believe you me, it's pretty close. Some spray paint, aluminium spray paint sprayed into a little tin here. I use a straight edge. You'll see why in a little bit. I'll try and demonstrate it as best I can. Screwdriver, we'll come onto that in a little bit. And of course, the most important component, coffee. So we'll do this in little blocks, and I'll try and give you an idea of how I do it. So what I'm going to do is go for this area here, which only has a little bit of detailing in it. I think you need a little bit more paint than that, but we'll just take it in little stages and go from the top. So dab your brush in to liquid. Try and sort of diffuse it by just sort of tapping away. You don't want too much on the brush. And then, as you can see here, you just want a little bit on the edges, and it's just simply to highlight the edges of the mask, or rather the battle damage, rather the detailing here in the battle damage. Can't get the words out if I tried, but hey. So try and get it in a little bit. You see, just over the edge, nothing crazy. You don't have to go mad. It's literally just little bits. Doesn't help because it's on a little rocky thing, but I'll probably have to move it. And if you feel like you've made a mistake, you can simply just use a tissue, damp tissue, or just simply just blast over it with a little bit of black again. It really does not matter. You could do, if you were feeling really brave, just simply go over it with your silver, emphasize your damage, and then just go over it with a black brush and just black out any bits of silver that you feel that you may have gone over to excess with. So I'm just going to pause here, and then I'm going to work on one of the sides. Now what I'm going to use with on the side is this. You probably think it's nuts, but this will just dip into here, and again we'll just take away a little bit of the excess paint and just dab it on in little layers. In this little section I'm just going to do the top sides of the helmet, and again, don't sweat it too much, just get the paint on, because it's damage. It's effectively not supposed to be perfect, so I'm going to try and replicate the silver markings or battle damage in this sort of top left hand section of the helmet as I look at it. Okay, and again, just refer to the Novos detail, because it's quite useful. So as you can see here, I've used this device, which is just a scraper, to just get the lines into the battle damage areas. And again, sort of just down here, I've used the screwdriver, just dabbed in the liquid and then just scraped along. Anything that you don't like, just scrape it away. Doesn't matter, it's battle damage, it looks good. Working on the left hand side, this is the Novos image, and here's where I'm at so far with the mask. If I can get it into focus. And you probably think that looks rather bitty, that's okay. You just keep scraping over it with your tools, and it sort of forms up quite nicely. And like I say, I'll keep reinforcing the fact it's not supposed to be perfect in the slightest, so you just keep chipping away like that. Boy, does it smell, so I recommend a face mask of some sort. So yeah, here we go.